move forward to something else.
Paul, hi, it's Al Fullerton here from Aliom Markets. Isn't that the key point there, that the BHP are looking forward to this developing world demand, but I guess so should, Ottawa and the province in terms of making decisions. It's come down to a sort of national asset now, and will you be diluting that, do you feel, with BHP coming on board? Jack, hi, it's Al Fullerton here from Aliom Markets. Just moving back to this developing world, this Asian demand play. Uranium was on the radar yesterday. We saw South Korea coming out announcing that they're looking to start developing their nuclear power plant technology with Australian uranium. We've seen the Chinese policy come out a couple of weeks ago, really focusing on cleaner energy. What are your thoughts there on the uranium play, certainly going forward as a real clean energy alternative?
Well, it's a very clean energy. It can be a very costly energy to operate, as we found out here in the Chicago area when the power companies really didn't maintain the power plants really very well, and it became a much more expensive proposition. But it is a hugely clean energy, and I think it is something that has to be considered as we move forward, as we try and move away from fossil fuels. I think nat gas is probably another play you start looking at, and certainly certainly nat gas is very cheap. And until we can get some of these biofuels really in better stages of development, those are probably the best plays. And so those are ones that I concentrate on very much. I think, as I said, uranium as a clean fuel, there's enough uranium available. It's a very stable provider of electricity as you move forward. So it's very understandable that these countries would be looking at it, just as we have over the years here in the U.S. And I think you'll see that type of thing continue to expand. In fact, I know you are. We're seeing other countries besides those two actively trying to acquire nuclear power plants just because of it. It is a stable and reliable source of energy.
Right. Jack, at that point, we're going to leave the conversation. Thanks so much. We'll talk into next week. Have a good one.
All right, thank you again.
Cheers. Always value it. Jack Scoville there from Price Futures Group. Let's stick with that discussion on uranium. Al Fullerton from Aliom Financial with me. Al, just in sort of rewinding the tape a bit, just a couple of weeks ago, of course, that offshoot arm of Rio, which is, of course, Energy Resources Australia, coming in with a downgrade on its annual production. So if we're talking uranium, we've got to be mindful of several factors. Where the mining of it is taking place, the strength of our currency, how that then plays back and comes back to bite Aussie companies, as it did for Rio with that print, and as much as anything, the quality of the product. It's not a given that every single mine out there has what it takes.
No, it's very true. I think if we're back solving it, though, we're looking at China, for an example. We have 23 power plants, nuclear power plants in construction at the moment. Read an article last week about their pipeline to continue to move that. We know they've flagged the fact they're looking for a cleaner energy. We know they've got a balance sheet that they're quite happy to build and maintain these power plants. On the actual mining side, we're actually seeing West Africa come into the scope here. There certainly is different levels of quality there, but certainly the relationships between some Aussie companies working out of Africa and those West African mines supplying the Chinese demand there. We've seen, as I touched on, South Korea coming out yesterday. That's why we saw these uranium stocks have a big run up yesterday.
So how much are they, though, chewing through the cash, exploring to get the right ore grade? And how much is that sort of stalling, getting it to market and locking in profits?
Oh, look, this is still a longer term story. It's not an overnight play there. It takes a long time to build that. If we're looking at the Australian environment, our current five-party coalition government would not be able to touch on that subject.
And that's the problem. So the moratorium denies us the domestic spend and take from that. We're hostage then to the $8.
Look, I think we're more hostage to the fact that it's almost a taboo subject, which perhaps in the short term can't be touched. I think we need more of a stable government.
But isn't that because vision is taboo in Australian politics?
What is vision?
Vision, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll let you can argue that one.
Well, it was an open-ended question. But I'm not arguing.
Question. Look, I think if we focus on the uranium play, it's a longer-term story, but it is that Asian demand story. It's a cleaner energy story. We know they flagged that. We know it's only going to move, as Jack said. You can only move one way. They're not going to actually move to less clean, less efficient fuels, and uranium really slots in well there.
Al, get thee to Canberra, get thee lobbying, and good luck. Okay.
Thank you,
Great to have your contribution this hour. I look forward to the next opportunity. Many thanks. Al Fullerton there from Aliom Financial. We'll be